conversation with Aaliyah, and I was like, yo, you know, tell me what happened. And she was like, she just couldn't. What you want me to do? And I just leave it alone.
Right.
Don't act like nothing. It causes me too much pain. I got a girl that your man raped.
It's crazy.
Right?
Yeah.
And and I tell you, when you gonna still work with him, what you gonna feel? So what you think I felt?
Exactly.
So I'm human, bro. But
Right.
that nigga raped my girl that he liked as well. Right?
Right.
And then went on a tour with him.
Was there any dissension between you and Jay because of that? Because
of course.
They made a song together called Not Guilty.
Cut to 2000, right? Once we got cool with homegirl,
right,
I knew everything.
Right.
Right?
And that's when you stop fucking with it.
And that's that. So you asking me, what do you do when somebody does that? You get the fuck out of Dodge and you start a whole new brand.
Right.
And you let everybody think you're broke.
Right.
Right.
The Smurfs are based on something?
Well, religious people will say, oh, you can't watch the Smurfs because it's bad because they have witchcraft and stuff in there. But the whole thing is, it's based on this, the homunculus, the idea that you can create a human life form without a mother or a father. So,
really? That's what the Smurfs are based on?
What two Smurfs do you think got together and had Smurfette? She was the only female of the Smurfs. So
it's a good question.
Well, it's not a question in the Smurfs. They tell you that Gargamel's made
Antarctica. Look at that, y'all. I see why they don't want us to go to Antarctica. I see why it costs like $20,000 to go there. And then you also need an escort. But look at the halo on top of that sun, y'all. So not only there's a halo on top of the sun, but this halo is going around and connecting. Look. So what's on top of us? Look. It goes all the way around and connects. Look. What? Look. It goes all the way to the other side of that. What is that, y'all? Oh my goodness. And look at that. And then there's something reflecting off of over here. You see that? There's something reflecting off of that. But look how beautiful that is, y'all. And over here too. When have we ever seen things like this, y'all? When have we ever seen it?
Boggling footage captured in Brazil. This intriguing video showcases a glowing being standing in a field emanating an otherworldly aura. The true nature of this entity remains a mystery, leaving everyone puzzled. However, it's worth noting that the area is renowned for UFO sightings, leading some residents to believe that this glowing being could potentially be an alien visitor. Since the footage was taken from a distance, it's challenging to discern distinct features of the being. Nevertheless, one can still make out the presence of arms on its sides and its upright stance, suggesting it stands on two legs. The top part of the being appears to resemble a head. Interestingly, some have even drawn comparisons to an angel, although the absence of wings challenges this assumption, unless of course we consider the possibility of wingless angels. Residents in the area have grown accustomed to the presence of this glowing creature, as it is said to make numerous appearances. However, despite their familiarity, one can definitively confirm whether it is indeed an alien entity or simply a shining object reflecting light, giving off a mysterious glow.
A video posted on January 25th, 2021 by the YouTube channel Haunting Jersey starts off normal enough as we watch a young girl playing around with her pet kitty, simply enjoying the day. It's a cute video as we watch the adorable animal being pet and showed some love, but unfortunately this wholesome video is about to take a seriously dark turn in just a moment. Let's watch.
You look so tired. I know you're tired.
Out of nowhere, one of the dining chairs is pushed backwards, seemingly by nothing. The young girl is absolutely shocked at seeing this and can only stare at the chair in complete bewilderment. However, when the chair is pushed back even further, the girl proceeds to pick the kitty up and hurry out of there as fast as she possibly can before the video ends abruptly afterwards. To this day, it is still unknown what happened here. Was this some sort of ghost playing around with this family? If so, why? Or was it a hoax? It seems like we may never get a concrete answer. For the first couple of seconds of this video posted by this TikTok user on November 21st, 2022, we get to see some genuinely beautiful shots of the woods where the uploader is filming. However, this seemingly relaxing and gorgeous video soon takes a sinister turn. Take a look.
Oh, I could have sworn I seen somebody run through these woods just now. I live in a country, not too many people know about this back here, but I'm telling you, I could have sworn I saw somebody. Oh my goodness. Hey, Zach. I could have sworn. See, Zach, there is a man over there. What? I'm not even playing. You need to go check it out. There is somebody over there.
I'll go check.
Hiding by our tree right now. I'm not even. Be careful. I just seen him over there by that tree, Zach. Zach, be careful. I'm not even playing. Zach, he's right there. But I'm telling you, I could have sworn I saw somebody. Oh my goodness. Hey, Zach. I could have sworn. See, Zach, there is a man over there. What? I'm not even playing.
Out of nowhere, a terrifying man can be seen hiding behind one of the trees far off in the distance, which causes the uploader to be freaked out, and you really can't blame her. She asks her significant other to go investigate, but the video cuts off before we can get an answer as to who or what is hiding behind that tree. Who was hiding behind the tree? And perhaps an even better question, why were they hiding behind the tree? Did this woman have a stalker? Anything is possible.
Hold on. Tell me that ain't. Tell me.
Oh! Mobile phone in 1938. A video phone in 1995.
This is what I'm seeing from, like, person-sized perspectives. Wow. I can't tell if there's another layer up here. I feel like I'm close to it. I'm gonna keep climbing. Whatever layer this is way the heck up there. Doesn't look any closer. Don't really want to be like right below it either, so this is about as high as I want to go. Oh my gosh, this is one of the most beautiful things in the world.
Frost.
Check this video out, y'all. Check this video out, y'all. A whale was giving birth to a baby in the water, and this attracted sharks due to the blood, the smell of blood. And dolphins appeared out of nowhere and formed a circle around the whale and the baby to protect them. Look at that, y'all. Look at the whale. Look at the whale. Look at that. to protect the whale. This is why they want y'all to stay away from dolphins. Look at this. Look at how beautiful this is, man. Wow. And they escorted them off. This is beautiful, beautiful. And to be able to capture this, thank you to the creditor for this. But yeah, man, this is why they want y'all to stay. That's why they want dolphins to stay away from y'all. They want dolphins to stay away from us. We are connected to dolphins. Dolphins are higher versions of us. That's, they speak telepathy. Look at this, y'all. This is beautiful, man. Share this video. Let's get this out there. Look at what dolphins do for us. Look at this.
Tell us that our heart is a pump. Your heart is not a pump. Your heart is a valve. Your lungs is a pump that pumps the blood to the heart. The heart is a valve mechanism that controls the cardio output of blood. Everything they tell us about everything is a lie. They tell you your hair is just hair. No, our hair is non-ether hair. It is actually an extension of your nervous system. It is used to scan the environment, and it brings all of these different melanin neurotransmitters back to your skin to tell you whether to actually engage in the environment or take fight or flight and run away. That's why you get gut feelings. That's why when you see paranormal activities, the hair on your skin stand up. So everything that they ever told us about ourselves is a lie. That dairy is good for the bones and calcium. Literally, milk actually strips the bone of calcium. You know, they tell us don't look at the sun because it will make us go blind. Sun gazing actually stimulates your pineal gland to open up your third eye. Everything they ever have told us is a lie. They will never teach you nothing to set you free, because you being enslaved mentally is how they benefit off of you. So they will never teach you anything to make you free. So we have to take everything that they ever tell us as bullshit.
Chick-fil-A is going back on its pledge to serve antibiotic-free chicken. The fast food chain had adopted that policy nearly a decade ago, but starting this year, the company says it will now serve chicken with limited antibiotics. Chick-fil-A blamed the change on supply chain issues. Antibiotics have long been used to boost rapid weight gain in animals for food production. However, U.S. regulators put restrictions on the practice, citing evidence that the use of antibiotics in animals has led to resistance to the drugs in humans, making it harder for them to help us fight off.
Did you catch what she said? She said having these antibiotics in our body makes it hard for us to fight illnesses. I was not aware Chick-fil-A had a pledge. I mean, it doesn't matter to me because I'm plant-based. But at the same time, this is big news because you're literally going back on the promise. So my thing is, why did it take them so long? Because KFC has been serving GMO chicken for some time now. Where do they get their product from? To go from no antibiotics ever to limited antibiotics, which basically destroys our immune system, because you just heard her say this helps us not fight illnesses. And the most profound thing about this is people are still going to eat this. You know what I'm saying? Because this is what the Matrix does. So yeah, does that change your perception of Chick-fil-A, y'all? I mean, like I said, you know, what if you've been eating it all your life? You had no idea. What if they just been feeding you guys GMO chicken all this time? Or styrofoam chicken all this time? What if that? The United States infertility rate is at an all-time low. It's even surpassed France. Remember when I told you Europe was having trouble with conceiving children? They haven't had children in a few months. Well, United States surpassed them, y'all. They're even talking about in a few years, deaths are projected to surpass births. Check this out.
Okay? We got a problem. And it's all something almost no one here ever talks about. we're not having children. United States fertility rates have collapsed. This number's wrong. It's our latest number for last year is not 1.64, it's 1.63. France has a higher fertility rate than the United States. Even when you adjust for their immigration population, they still have a dramatically higher fertility. Most of Western Europe looks like us, and we're worse than a whole bunch of the world. How do you and I set public policy so 25 years from now? Remember, Social Security is substantially a pay-as-you-go system. Today's workers are functionally paying for today's retirees. The trust fund was the shock absorber. Trust fund is disappearing. But my future generation of workers is going to be smaller. And you're already seeing this in school districts all over America, where the number of students they have are shrinking.
I showed y'all that.
Are we willing to have the really interesting discussion of, okay, are there things we could do economically to make it so family formation, so there's more children? There's things we could do to help, but almost every country it's tried has not been able to change fertility rates. I think in Hungary, I think I saw something that, you know, third child, they buy you a house, fourth child, you get some sort of like prize, and it's barely ticked up their fertility rates. It's a really difficult question, happening all over the industrialized world. So if you can't really change it, do you actually build public policy to deal with it? Do you accept the fact that we're going to have a lot more automation? It means capital investment. Are we going to have to find ways to safely adopt artificial intelligence into society so the labor force is maximized in its value and what they earn and productivity? Those are policies we need to work on. You've seen the intellectual capital of the conversations we have on the floor here. How many of them are ready to actually have the reality of, hey, we need to set policy. Is this Republican or Democrat? It's demographics. It's life. And I'm going to bounce through the next two boards because there's a punchline here we need to absorb. This is a little uncomfortable, but this was deaths that are projected to exceed births. And the new math in 15 years, you got to understand what a big deal this is. I came behind this microphone a couple years ago, and I got some real crap that was sent to my office. And I think at that time I was saying, hey, in 21, 22 years, we're going to have more deaths than births in this country. And then it became 18 years. And then it became 17 years. The new math now is 15 years. In 15 years, the United States will have more deaths than births. The blip you see here is the pandemic. But if you actually look at the line, you can sort of understand, and here's our crossing. Somewhere before, a little before 2040, which is 15 years, we have more deaths than births.
If the devil were to walk among us, perhaps this is the form he would take. This chilling encounter was reported by someone who stumbled upon this enigmatic being perched on a hill in the dead of night. With its back turned to the camera, the creature's silhouette reveals a pair of ominous wings unfurling from its back and a horn-like projection. While it's reminiscent of the gargoyle, this entity appears larger and more human-like, evoking an unsettling aura of malevolence. Could this truly be the devil manifesting in our midst, or is there another explanation for this unearthly presence?
En esa casita donde creció, un café caliente al lado de una hornilla con queso y frijoles.
Watch out, you better not die, you better not crash, I'm telling you why, 'cause you told your wife you're at work.
that a cow? What is that? Oh,
Draai! Draai! Gina, recht! Sama, sama, wat doe
This flood is real, and we have a flood account in every single civilization on every continent, every ancient culture on the planet. And in the Sumerian tablets, according to the tablets, the reason for the flood could have been stopped. But Enlil was so disgusted with human beings, if you read the Epic of Gilgamesh and the Epic of Atrahasis, he was so disgusted he wanted to wipe out the creation and begin anew, start over. Not that he had created human beings from scratch, but they had genetically modified us to do the work for them. He was like, let's wipe them out and start fresh. And his relatives, Enki and Hersag and everyone else, they were pissed. They were like wailing to please don't do this. But he was the king at the time, so he had the right to allow this to happen. And he did. And so what Enki did was he contacted some of his people on Earth and said, look, there's a situation about to go down and I need you guys to be prepared for this. So I'm going to give you these floor plans and I need you to build this structure. I can't do it for you because it's going to look really suspect if I do it. But I'm going to give you these instructions and allow you to go ahead and if you listen to me, you'll escape this calamity. So he went to Ziazudra, aka Noah in the Bible, but his name is Ziazudra, and he gave him the plans on how to build an ark. And this ark wasn't the shape that's described in the Bible. It wasn't the shape of the one described in the Bible. It is actually the shape of a disc, and it was cut up into sections like a pie on the inside. And his instructions were to gather up his local flock and any local animals and flora that was in the area and take on the ark with him, of course, with some meals and so forth and some water and everything else, right? Not to get 2 of every kind from around the planet. 2 cockroaches and 2 fleas and 2 lizards and 2 false information, fake news. Didn't happen. And we have the physical tablet. We have the physical evidence of the tablet, which gave the instructions on what to build. It was a disc. How come the Bible hasn't been rewritten now? How come it hadn't been rewritten? Ancient Sumerian tablets, you discover that there were beings living on Mars called the Igigi in these ancient tablets. They were the working class Anunnaki people, and they were up there creating a breakaway civilization, but the atmosphere was very harsh as it is today. And so they were complaining to their rulers who were on Earth, Enki, Enlil, and Anu, that the conditions up there were kind of harsh and they don't mind it, but they would just like to have a break. And they also said, and by the way, we would love to have some women too. They didn't have any women, supposedly. They wanted some women and they wanted to take a rest. And so they weren't given a break. In the Epic of Atrahasis, they decided to go to war against the kings of Earth. These are the sons of God. Anu was called the God figure, and his sons would be these Igigi beings, the sons of God that fell to Earth and rebelled against God. They came down from Mars to Earth. They encircled the campus in South Africa called Adam's Calendar, and the whole thing is scripted out in this tablet, how they were about to go to war, literally, and fight. And then Enki says, I have an idea. There's an existing hominid on this planet. We can add our essence to it and get it to bear your load.
Oh, cries real crystals.
Possessed by demons who identify themselves as Legion, for we are many. He cast out the demons, who then possess a nearby herd of swine. Immediately, the entire herd goes crazy and commits mass suicide by stampeding down a hillside and off a cliff into the sea. The seas have always belonged to him. It's his domain. Why did Jesus walk on water? To show his power over the devil. Moses parting the sea, same thing. Book of Revelation, all the dragons and dragons and the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. Where do they come from? They rise from the sea.
It's lightning coming through the firmament. Look. This is what you call Sprite. Check this out, y'all. Check it out. It gets crazier. It gets more intense. Watch. Look at that. Does that look like water? Look at that. Does that look like water? Look. Crystals. They look like ice crystals, huh? It's like water. Look. That's water, huh? You see? They're like water droplets. Look at that, y'all. Those things are called Sprite, and Sprite is kind of like spirit, you know, and that's like lightning. So could that be like the Holy Spirit? It's like dropping a huge something huge in water and getting a splash. It's like looking at water upside down. So could that be like Sprite or spirit coming through the firmament, y'all? Cause you know what I'm saying? Y'all know we have a firmament. Even in the Bible it tells y'all this. So what do y'all think? It's very interesting. Have y'all ever seen that video before?
The tree from the flashlight when it's the sky behind the tree.
This video is going viral in the internet. A mom and daughter were just hanging out outside. They started using a flashlight, flashing some of the trees, observing the area. After flashing some of the trees, they noticed something extremely strange. They noticed that there was actually a shadow right behind the trees. The shadow was just very close to the trees. Let me show you guys a video of how this is supposed to look. After looking at the sky, they also noticed that there wasn't a single star that night.
And why is there a stop point at the end of my flashlight when it's pointed at the sky? Why isn't it going on further? What the fuck is this? Don't cuss. I'm sorry. It doesn't make any sense.
That night, they also noticed that the flashlight came to a stopping point in the sky, which is also something very strange. What do you guys think about this video? Do you think this is actually a simulation? Let me know what you guys think in the comments.
Check this out, y'all. Y'all gotta see this. Y'all gotta see this. This is in the desert in Chile. Like, who would think to go there? And how would you know this exists over here, y'all? But check it out, y'all. It gets crazy. But doesn't that look like a face of a woman? Doesn't that look like a face of a woman? But that's not what I was talking about. Check it out. That looks like a face of a woman. Look at this. What is this? What is this, y'all? What are they doing to the dome? Y'all see the stars? Why do they look like that? Why does it look fake? What? Y'all see that? This is in Chile, boy. That's crazy. But you cannot tell me that this is not the face of a woman, y'all. This is the shape of a woman. Look at that. The eyes, the nose, the mouth, the chin, and the hair. What is that, y'all? Why is this? Y'all gotta watch that video again because it looks so interesting just seeing everything in that picture.